Welcome all, it's 5:30. We will start the Ordinary Council meeting of Monday the 25th of August 2025. In accordance with the Local Government Act of 1993, Cowra Council is recording this meeting and will upload the recording to Council's website. By speaking at this meeting, you agree to being recorded and having that recording published in the public domain. Please ensure that when you speak at council meetings, you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Cowra Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this evening. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Wiradjuri people, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. We have an apology from Councillor Watt, and I think everybody else is here, aren't they? Would someone like to move that we accept Councillor Horton? Councillor Cave, thank you. Councillor Horton?
No, not required, thank you.
Councillor Cave? Anybody else? All those in favour? Thank you. 1.4, councillors and staff, please indicate in relation to any interest you need to declare. A, what report and item you are declaring an interest in. B, whether the interest is pecuniary or non-pecuniary. C, what is the nature of the interest? Councillor Speechley.
I'd like to declare a pecuniary interest in the point 6.1 donation to Cowra Japanese Garden and Cultural Centre. I'm on the board of the Japanese Garden as a representative of tourism, and I will leave the room.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you very much. We have no presentations and no public forum. So we'll move to item 2, confirmation of minutes, and I will have a note to the council minutes. I note that there are 2 errors were detected in the minutes for the council meeting that are published for the 28th of July. The recording of the meeting confirms that item 4.9 was moved by Councillor Fagan and seconded by Councillor Horton. And also Councillor Watt, in making her disclosure of interest regarding item 4.1, in fact advised that she would leave the room for that item, which she did. I propose that we vote on accepting these minutes, noting that these errors are corrected in the record. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Wright, thank you. Councillor Horton.
Thank you, and thanks for the clarification. Always important to be accurate. I'm not sure they were material changes, but good to make sure the record is accurate, and happy to support the minutes. Thank you.
Councillor Wright? Anybody else wish to comment? Councillor Horton? Right,
not required, thank you.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Item 3 is 2 mayoral minutes. We'll start with the first one, is the Cowra Agricultural Research Station, possible staff reductions. We still have not been able to ascertain any details. There are rumours floating around town, but then there always are. But we certainly haven't been advised. We've been to the local duty MLA. He doesn't know. Our local member doesn't know. So until we hear, I've written to the minister and the local member, and we've had a bit early for replies, admittedly, from them. But as soon as we do know, we'll let you know. But there's, I say, rumours and innuendos, but no details that are official. Also in 3.2, you'll see, do we want to move one at a time? Righto. Someone like to accept the mayoral minute? I'm happy to move it. Councillor Horton, thank you. I don't need to speak to it. Councillor Horton?
No, just to say thank you for getting on the front foot, not only writing to the Premier and the Minister, but also our local member, and I think there were some media releases as well, so it's good to get it out there in the public domain. Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Wright?
Yeah, thank you. I support what's been done up to date, and I think even if we haven't heard, we can still raise issues with the government and the Minister about how the importance that we place on the research station in the Cowra Shire. It is part of our long-term plan to have viable, active research station in Cowra to help create employment and develop new initiatives to help the agricultural community, and we feel it's a very important part, and it's served the district and New South Wales, if not Australia, very well over a long period of time. Recently, it has been a centre for sheep research, and that emulated from, they did breed a new type of sheep up there. I think it was called heifer. It was a heifer. It was a high fertility sheep for meat production, and they got a lot of good genetics and things to look for out of that that was able to be developed in other breeds of sheep. And this just, they say if there is smoke, there's probably fire somewhere. They have spoken of Bollingar Research Centre being closed up on the north coast, which was very important for doing tests for biosecurity, and they did indicate that those jobs would be going to Wagga, but the people wouldn't be offered those jobs that lost jobs up there. The Minister also indicated to New South Wales farmers, I don't know if it was at the conference or privately afterwards, there's been no sackings in the department. There has been redundancies because the work has ended and we do not need them anymore. And instead of saying there's 260 redundancies, she quoted 140 redundancies because they're offering another 120 new jobs, but the people that are losing jobs would not necessarily be made available for them to apply for. And with all this that's happening, there's been a very low morale within the Department of Agriculture regarding research and extension work and so forth. And we could lose those good people simply because they don't feel respected and worthwhile working for the government. So we need to put pressure on the government to lift its standings. The federal government's talking about innovation and development all the time. Well, this is on the ground stuff where this does take place, and it's in a regional centre, and we need to keep the pressure on them. If they don't answer us, we send another letter indicating that we still want to meet with them and don't brush us off. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to comment? Yes, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I appreciate all the work that you've been doing in trying to get ahead of this situation. I'm glad a media release has come out to the public. I'm speaking to this simply because it's quite bewildering, and I know when I first heard about it, I was quite flabbergasted by it, and I've been through all of those different emotions, anger, and then started getting facetious. We're not going to be eating meat anymore, But look, I think for me it really highlights, and I'm disappointed in the lack of communication and transparency. I think I'm a reasonable person, and if we're approached and things are discussed openly and we can then say, oh, okay, now I understand where you're coming from. But the fact that it's come so left field, I just feel is leaving us with more questions and answers and putting everybody on the wrong foot to begin with. I think that's it, in a day when we're actually trying to be more transparent and open. I think that we've been sadly let down here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? My right of reply. I have done a couple of radio interviews on it as well, and when I explained that we didn't have any details and didn't really know, I don't think either one of them went to air. But the comment I would like to make is that Australia's population's increasing. The world's population is certainly increasing. A shortage of food, a shortage of protein. I would have thought we needed more research, not less. That's sort of going in. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. 3.2 is the notes from the Central New South Wales Joint Organisation Board meeting. Can I have a mover? I'll move it. Thank you. Thank me. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Look, that's as written. Is there anybody got any questions on that? I'd be more than happy to answer. It's all as written, so. The one interesting thing out of that, and I don't know whether I said it at the information meeting last week, the lady from CSU told us that they have lost 90% of their international full fee paying students. Therefore, they have severe financial implications to that. So that was one of the not so good things we heard. Councillor Kiss?
Just briefly, Mr. Mayor, looking through the report, we've got an interesting 4 years ahead. So, yep, good luck.
Anybody else like Councillor Wright?
Just a question, did the Advocacy of New Zealand Australasian Railway Association, Ms Julia Andrews, have anything to, I know, says that Simon Burke,
Yeah.
they have anything interesting about rail transport?
They were mainly, they do a lot of, they advocate, they provide policy, they do lots of things, mostly for the metropolitan area, mostly on passenger rail, very little freight. That's not their thing. They had a lot of statistics and how much they lose and how much they spend and how much it costs to maintain tracks, but most of it was about the metropolitan train network. They also did give us a quick update on what they thought of the inland rail, and it seems to have as many problems as it has wins. They've certainly got some problems in that. So that I said mainly it was about metropolitan area, which didn't interest too many of us much at all. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Councillor Fagan?
If I could comment, I was there actually, and one of the interesting things about the rail was that the 98% of freight is now going on rail, not on trucks. I mean, on trucks, not on
Trucks,
rail.
yeah.
98% is on rail, so that was a bit of a concern. On trucks, sorry, on trucks, and so they were working towards changing that. So he was bringing that up and making sure that everyone is aware of that 98% of freight goes on trucks, and they're trying to change that. So that is one of the things that they're actually looking at. Especially with inland rail and the development of long haul trains. So they have got some plans for that, but it was actually quite an interesting presentation. So, but 98% is terrible because about, I think it was 1976 or something, they said 68% was on rail, but now it's 98%. So on trucks. Yeah. No, across Australia. Across Australia, Sydney and Melbourne.
Yeah.
There was, yeah. So there was 30% increase in truck movements and freight, which was really interesting. Anyway, just a side.
Thank you. The other interesting thing on my right of reply was that Blaney mine, the mine at Cadia, sends their slurry across to Blaney where they dewater it and put it in containers. They send a train every night to Sydney, one train a night of gold bearing sludge, I suppose it is, and it has to go overnight because there's a curfew on the Blue Mountains line because it's got so much passenger rail during the day. There's no freight allowed on it during the day, so all the freight has to go overnight. And if there's any hiccup, Blaney can't get their gold to the port. So I will put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay, we go on to items 4.1, organisational structure. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As mentioned in our general committee meeting, it's legislated that we must determine the review of the organisation's structure. We have currently 3 directors and we believe that it's currently working well, so I see no reason not to support the recommendation that it remains the same. Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
No need. Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Kiss, right a reply. Put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. 4.2, the donation to Cowra High School for the 2025 School Spectacular. Councillor Fagan, thank you. Councillor Downing. Councillor Fagan.
Just to say that this is a regular event for Cowra High School, and I think it's amazing that they get in this incredible spectacular. It's terrific that they put themselves out, and I think it's a great thing for council to do to support such a very spectacular event, and we get a great deal of publicity out of it, because I'm sure that most schools understand what's going on, and they actually they feel that Cowra High School actually performs really well. I'm sure they perform very well, and I'm looking forward to seeing the spectacular on television, which is always a grand event. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Downing. Anybody else wish to comment? Councillor Wright.
Yes, I support this. This isn't a excursion that a school can just apply, can just say, you know, we're going to go. We're going to take so many children, and off they go. They have to try out for it. They have to be selected for whatever part they're doing: dance, music, singing, or backstage work. They've got to. It's a highly selective system to be selected. So if you get selected, you're sort of one to start with, but then you end up you're one of about 5,000 people that students that create this spectacular. And I know one or two schools might have missed out this year. The biggest problem they're having is the cost, because it's in the centre of Sydney, and you've got to stay not too far out of the city, or getting people to and from the facility, and is difficult, as many parents and teachers operate as bus drivers and so forth, and then you've got to be able to feed them and keep them under control. And but this is where they go to do their performance. It's like a football team going to a state conference. It's a state carnival. These actors and singers and musicians, they're going to their state carnival. So I wish them all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to comment? Councillor Fagan, right of reply. Put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. 4.3, a donation to the Noel Collett Legacy for the Cowra Knockout 2025. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Downing. Councillor Horton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, these last two items, 4. Oh, have I just disconnected that? Yeah. So 4.2 and 4.3 demonstrate quite different cultural activities, but a great thing for council to be able to support different groups being able to be involved, to travel, and to have that cultural connection and that cultural experience. So a great thing for us to be able to get involved with. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Downing.
Yeah, just to say that Councillor Horton, I agree. It's a $1,500 donation, and this will be for the regional Cowra Knockout, which is different to the one that the Arambi All Blacks go to. That the Collett family are a legacy family, an Indigenous family who've played football over many generations, and happy to support them.
Thank you. Anybody else like to comment? I did seek clarification at the last meeting that they are all basically local footballers, and that's been confirmed they are. So, Councillor Horton, right of reply. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. 4.4, investments and financial report. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Downing. Thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Just to say that this is our July investments financial report. Our funds are well invested according to the regulations. Interest rates slowly reducing, therefore reducing our interest received. Still, our average interest rate is greater than the average market rates, which will be a good thing for our community. Thank you.
Councillor Downing.
Just like to say, even though the rates are coming in well, just let the community know that if they're having any trouble, we can always work something out. So come and let us know. Thanks.
Anybody else like to comment? I agree with Councillor Downing. Communication is everything, and if someone's got a problem, we're only too happy to help them. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? No. 4.5, DA number 102025.59.1, Lot 20, Section 9, DP 977420, 59A Kite Street, multi-dwelling housing, 4 attached dwellings, lodged by M. Pullen. The property owner is Jackie Childs Proprietary Limited. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Horton.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We had a good discussion about this at General Committee. This looks to be a good use of a block in town that hasn't been used for some time. We already have services running past it. So from an infrastructure point of view, that's a win for us in the first instance. I did note with interest too, while I was thinking about this, while I was thinking about DAs actually, while I was driving and listening to ABC radio, we know the federal government has set a target for the number of homes they want to build in Australia in a particular time frame. Regional Australia Institute is actually arguing for 40% of that new housing to be built in regional Australia, which is fantastic. One of the things that Regional Australia Institute noted was that there's a preponderance of fully detached housing in regional Australia, and that mix needs to change to help us to accommodate future generations. So this is a small example, yes, but a very good example of using a block in town that's already got services running past it for a multi-user dwelling. So it's a good application from my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, and I probably keep mentioning it every time, but you know, I've definitely changed my way of thinking from believing that families should be able to live in houses with blocks, with play yards and everything else. But you know, our demographics are changing drastically. We really do have a need for more of these one-bedroom type units. It's on relatively flat land. I do think it's a great use of space. The only reason it came to us was that there was a parking space that is coming just forward of the building line. Again, it's not at all intrusive. I think it's a brilliant use of space, and I don't think that will be, I think there'll be a big call for tenants or occupants as soon as they're made. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment? Right of reply, Councillor Horton.
Not required. Thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, it is a DA. Thank you. Passed unanimously. 4.6, development application 102024.11.1, lots 9 and 10 DP 1096603, 11 to 13 Collis Drive, Cowra, 64 self-storage units lodged by BJ Wilkinson. The property owner is BJ and NA Wilkinson. Councillor Fagan. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Fagan.
Yet again, this is another necessary storage for our community. It's amazing how many people actually have a storage unit, put things in it and never go back and look at it again. So I know when, but they do need them, obviously. There are a lot of them, but they're always needed. And I think, you know, it's in this world of consumerism, unfortunately, we are getting more and more people with wanting storage units. They are a very good place to put, you know, stuff that you just really don't use all the time, like, you know, old cars and things that you're doing up. And they don't require a lot of maintenance. This is a really good development. It's exactly, as I said, it's amazing how many people want storage units. I know when I was in real estate, it was always top of the list of people with a waiting list. So there is definitely a need for this type of building and storage units, and I think it's actually in the right place, and I wish them well.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So just so that everyone's clear, of course, this went through a process of being publicly notified, and we didn't receive any submissions. The only reason this came to council initially was because of a reduced front setback. Even with that reduced front setback, we're still achieving the 3 metre zone, like the landscaping zone, and that reduced setback is actually only one of the columns of the development. So it's not the whole frontage that has a reduced setback; it's only actually one small section of it. So good use of the space, and as Councillor Fagan said, clearly it's a need that's been identified. So more than happy to support the development. Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Downing?
I'd just like to say congratulations on this actual development. Being the mum of 4 boys who've come and gone numerous times and brought more stuff with them each time, we've had the need to have storage sheds, and I think someone in the family still has one at the moment. So great that we've got more.
Thank you. I'd make a comment before I go back to Councillor Fagan. I might need one myself sooner or later. I put my car in. If I keep hoarding stuff in the garage, there'll be no room for the car. So, or we could switch them around. Right, a reply, Councillor Fagan. I'll put the motion. It's a DA, people. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Thank you. 4.7, modification of Council's Access Incentive Scheme, the grant funding guidelines. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Downing. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, we did discuss this at length again at our general meeting. This is simply a modification to our Access Incentive Scheme fund. It's been working brilliantly, but as things do, we realise that there are things that we can perhaps tighten up or adjust to align the policy words with what we're actually trying to achieve. The incentive scheme was largely created to make it easier for communities, community organisations or businesses to make modifications to their properties to make them more accessible. We're talking generally more minor type of things, whether it's putting ramp on or so forth. So we've had to reconsider our eligibility. We've removed education buildings, with the exception of early education, believing that this is more of a New South Wales government type of responsibility. We're basically just trying to make sure that the policy aligns with what we're trying to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Downing.
Oh yes, just to reiterate what Councillor Keir said, this has become a very popular policy and people like to apply for it, which is really good to see that we're having so much interest in it in the town and spending the money that we've put aside for it, as we believed it was retrofitting that we were doing, and then that was what was costing monies and kind of prohibitive for businesses. So yeah, I'm happy with the changes and hoping these things will tighten it up a little bit and make it a little bit more clear when it comes to us, when we get to decide who's doing what.
Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Kiss, right of reply. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye, pass. Thank you. Item 5, 5.1, the delegation of authority to Mayor, General Manager, Section 355, committees and working parties. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I support the recommendation to revoke all the previous delegations and adopt these new ones. Been some minor modifications made, but in essence, it hasn't changed. Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
Yeah, thank you. As noted there, this is an administrative requirement within 12 months of an election to review and adopt, and so the review process, there's been some changes made, but happy to support them as they now stand. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Right of reply, Councillor Kiss. Put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. 5.2, Acting General Manager. Councillor Downing. Councillor Speechley. Councillor Downing.
This is just to say that our GM is going to use some of his leave, which is good for the budget, and that Dirk is going to take over as acting director. So I fully support that.
Thank you, Councillor Speechley.
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add. Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Right of reply, Councillor Downing. Not required. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. 5.3, the delivery program 2022 to 23 right through to 2025-26, the operational plan 2024-25, and the 6-month review to 30th of June 2025. Councillor Kiss, Councillor Horton, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, this is quite an extensive report. Always exciting to see our 6-month reviews, because I think sometimes we get too busy and caught up in our day-to-day before we actually stop and reflect on what has been achieved. And I would like to thank the staff for their incredible efforts. Quite marvellous to be looking through it. I'm definitely not going to read through everything. There is so much in there that we've achieved and we're continuing to work towards. One thing I do find quite exciting is the appointment of our 9 school-based apprentices and trainees. First half of this calendar year, they're growing our own, as they call it. And I just think it's such a marvellous, marvellous concept. So pleased that we've taken that up. Look, so much in the list. Sports field master plans and supporting the relaunch of Cowra Business Chamber. There's so much happening in our community, and I think anyone who thinks otherwise really should look through the review themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
Agree 100%. I think it's really important that we continue to find ways as a council to play this kind of information back to the community, to let them know where things are up to, that we might not have finished everything that we set out to do, but we're on the way, or what the next steps are, or indeed those things that we have completed. So it's absolutely a dynamic document, and it continues to change and evolve and develop. But I think for those that are questioning what's happening at council and what council staff are up to, this is a great start to have a look. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment? Right of reply, Councillor Kiss. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. 5.4, the draft media and social media policy. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, the draft media and social media policy came to us in April of 2025 for recommendation to go on public exhibition, which it duly did, and no submissions were received. The social media section is really a new addition to our media policy, and being relatively new to our method of communication, really involved considerable thought and discussion. There was extensive consultation with staff and councillors regarding the content and ensure that it really applied to our council. I have no doubt that the policy will be modified and tweaked over time as other aspects of it come to light. But at this stage of the game, I'm satisfied that this is a workable framework for us, and I support the adoption of this draft. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
No, nothing to add. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Kiss, right of reply. Put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. 5.5, the CBD committee. This is a change in the number of people we've got on it from council, and also the personnel that we've got on it. Would someone like to move that? Thank Councillor Downing. Thank you. Councillor Horton. Thank you. Councillor Downing.
As the Mayor has just said, this is a draft minute from the CBD committee, which we had a meeting last week. Just to say that the Cowra Tourism representative, David Barand, is now no longer on our committee as a representative for Cowra Tourism, and the new manager, Courtney Prio, will take his place, and that Councillor Fagan has decided not to be on it, so that reduces the number of councillors on that from 5 to 4, and I'm more than happy to support that and go forward.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
Apologies. Yes, thank you. Happy to support those changes. I would also note in the minutes there that we have welcomed some new business representatives into the CBD committee as well, which is fantastic. A good opportunity to refresh, which is fantastic. And yes, as mentioned, newly appointed Cowra Tourism Corporation, Courtney Prio has joined the committee as well. So moving ahead at pace now, which is terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. I just would note that this motion also contains the minutes of the last CBD committee. Anyone else like to comment? Councillor Wright.
Yeah, best news I've heard, there's one less councillor on a committee. We can get 5 councillors was over the top, I thought, right from the start. We're trying to get community to participate in these committees where 2 councillors, possibly 3 sometimes, or just one is enough to sort of have a balance in the discussion. And if you've got too many councillors on board, the community think, well, they're not going to change their minds and they'll want what they want. And I wish the committee all the best going forward. It's one of the most difficult committees, I think, that we have to operate. It's very hard to follow where growth might be, or what the obstacles might be coming forward to revitalise the CBD, or not revitalise it, to maintain what's going on in the CBD. And I hope there's good rapport with our business development officer. I wouldn't expect that person to divulge commercial and private information, but just to give a discussion of what type of businesses are looking for relocation to a town or so forth. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Speechley.
Just a really positive observation of the minutes. One of the points is that a general consensus emerged of needing to see action and promotion, which I think is really positive because it's more outcomes based than just having another committee and more meetings. So look forward to seeing what the actions are that we'll see in the future.
Thank you. Anybody else like to comment? I'd just like to, speaking of the CBD committee, we've had 2 shops down the eastern end of the Kendall Street being occupied last week. The Rotary have got a second-hand bookshop in there, and those that you haven't had a look at it, it's a pleasure to go into. They've presented it exceptionally well, and I think it's a great win for the community, for Kendall Street, for the Rotary Club. There's a lot of winners in this, so it's excellent. Councillor Downing, write a reply.
Yeah, just to say my apologies for not mentioning the minutes as well. And our new representatives are Adam Gambrell, Catherine Jeffs and Bruce Rouston, who all came to the meeting with great ideas and participated really well at our last meeting. And just to say that my opinion, and that could be just my thoughts, but my thoughts of having 5 councillors on that committee originally was that when we started this as a new committee, we wanted the community to know that council was taking this seriously. It wasn't a space that we were traditionally in, and that was something we got feedback from the community during the election time. So I think that's why there were so many. One less, probably not going to make much difference.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. 6.1, donation, Cowra Japanese Garden and Cultural Centre for Sakura Matsuri. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton, Councillor Kiss, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, this is a recommendation to approve a donation of $2,500 towards the Sakura Matsuri. Oh, I'd say that the wrong way. Sakura Matsuri Festival. It's one of our largest cultural festivals and celebrates the Japanese culture. Big attraction for our locals, and it actually attracts visitors from across the globe as well. Beautiful cherry blossom festival it is. Look, and just to note that in the long-term financial plan, we'd already allocated $2,000 towards this particular festival. What this is asking for is an additional donation of $500 towards a donation drawn from our Section 356 budget. And I very actively support this donation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Horton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 100% behind this. I think I wonder sometimes whether we take the Japanese gardens for granted. It actually is a world-class facility, and it's a great time of year, of course, as well in Cowra. So anything we can do to help support successful events at the Japanese garden, I'm sure we would see a solid return on investment for these types of activities and events. So more than happy to support. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? I'd just like to say, as a council delegate to the Japanese Garden and Cultural Centre, this donation will go towards the reception on the Saturday night. Now, the reception is a lot of people get invited that you don't feel you can charge them to, because they're contributing one way or another to the Japanese garden. So it's a formal way of saying thank you, basically. And I think it is very important for the ongoing future of the gardens. Councillor Kiss, right, a reply? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Pass, thank you. 6.2. Yes, we'll get Councillor Speechley back in. Item 6.2, the draft minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee of the 7th of August 2025. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Can I have a seconder? I'll second it, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was the first Audit, Risk and Improvement meeting, ARIC meeting, that we've held under the chairpersonship of Mr. Alan Piggott. I believe it was quite successful. It's everything I think is discussed respectfully, transparently, honestly. Everything's thoroughly considered. You can see from our agenda that there's quite a lot of governance that goes into council's work, and I like to say it's quality. And yeah, I would actually even recommend that any of our councillors come and attend one of them, just to see exactly what's involved. They're quite interesting when you start looking behind the scenes of exactly what is being taken into consideration for everything we do. Thank you.
Thank you. As a seconder, I have very little to add. I wasn't there, I was away. So anybody else wish to comment?
Can I just ask a question?
Councillor Fagan.
Councillor Kiss, on page 9, you brought something up about can't read. Oh, it just doesn't. I can't quite understand what it means. Councillor Nikki and page 209 on the iPad. Councillor Nikki Kiss raised concerns around whether council should be promoting services as a councillor in advance. I don't understand that. Can you explain that?
Yeah, is that right for me to comment, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Through the Mayor? Yeah, sorry. No, yes, no, look, this was more to do with looking towards our next elections, just seeing if there's anything that we could be or should be doing towards promoting local government to get people more enthusiastic about our next election, so that we have enough people standing for council. But as it was advised, this is considered to be more a matter for the Office of Local Government rather than for us to play an active part in, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do agree. It was a bit misleading. I had to go and check myself.
So question.
Who are we up? Just yes, Councillor Wright.
So Mr. Jeff Toomey, his term's coming up end of this year, and he'll have to reapply, or we have to find another one to fill his position, do we?
I'll put that to the director.
Through the chair, no, Mr. Toomey is in a position where he's prepared to step down and into the next phase of his retirement life. We will be commencing a recruitment process to replace him. He's indicated to us that he's happy to stay on for a few months while that process runs its course, and so we'll likely look to replace him early in the new year.
Yeah, I thank the people for providing the report. I'd just like to make a comment. I did have a little bit to do with this committee, and all those big supporters of being formed, and at no time I ever felt things were being hidden and nothing was transparent. It made us all think about what we're doing, and the independent people, they asked questions that needed to be asked. So from what I've heard here tonight, the committee is operating as it should and as it has been. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I agree with Councillor Kiss that if you've got time, it is an interesting thing to come and sit on. It's a very dry old meeting, but it does give you insight into what goes on and the process involved, and you get sausage rolls. So, Councillor Kiss, write a reply.
I'm going to put this on not only because you spoke into the microphone as well, but just to say that we didn't receive sausage rolls after the last meeting, but that's okay. I'll still come to the next one. Thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you very much. 6.3, release of closed decisions. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Wright. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is housekeeping. Simply noting that we've released the resolutions made in closed council, the ordinary council meeting on the 28th of July, namely the acceptance of tenders for the gravel production and gravel road grading wet plant hire, and also the request for the tender for the Cowra Aquatic Centre renewal. In addition to this, we've noticed the intention to potentially allocate contingency funds towards that project as well. Thank you.
Councillor Wright.
Yeah, these decisions are withheld for a certain period of time, so all confidentiality and any business concerns can be sorted out before the final person, not so much sorted out, so that the company or whatever selected has a chance to accept or deny that their tender is being accepted, and the process then can continue on to go into our work program. As it said, it's housekeeping, but it's something that's not made public until it's all signed, sealed, and ready to deliver. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Write a reply, Councillor Kiss. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Passed. 6.4, donation to Conor Moriarty, the Squash Australia Junior Championships 2025. Councillor Downing, Councillor Horton. Thank you. Councillor Downing.
Yeah, just to say congratulations to Conor Moriarty for being chosen for New South Wales to go to the Australian Junior Squash Championships. They've asked for $500, which is within our donation policy. Just a quick note, his mum, Jess Moriarty, has done the application for him, and other applicants, please take note. It's perfect. He has a letter of support from the Cowra Squash Club. He has another letter of support from the Squash New South Wales, and it is great to see that those people are supporting Conor as well, and I wish him all the best for the tournament.
Thank you. Councillor Horton.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So great opportunity to represent New South Wales and of course push for national selection. So best of luck to Conor.
Anyone else wish to comment? I'd like to say I think it's great that someone can represent New South Wales from the little squash club that we have here, and I think it's a tremendous achievement by the young bloke. And I agree with Councillor Downing. It was a lovely letter that supported it, and it just made it all clear, easy to understand. It was great. So, write a reply, Councillor Downing. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you. 7.1, committee minutes of the Traffic Committee. I'll move that. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Downing. This meeting was basically about two things. Special events, which is road closures, and one was Woodstock Spring Ride, which has been going on for a lot of years now. It's around the areas of Woodstock, mainly on private property, but they do come out onto public roads from time to time. The next one was close off the area at the front here for the Bell Beats Music and Arts Festival. The Morongla Show, which is standard, what we slow the traffic down out there. The Show Society for the Cowra Show, the usual traffic plan that they have there. And the big change was that the government has decided that traffic committees no longer vote on anything. It's by agreement of everybody there. So we had to renew the delegates for it's now a forum, not a committee. Apart from that, nothing seemed to change. But so I don't know whether we change it from a committee in the headlines to a forum, but that's how the government would like to see it now. And things are done on consensus, which, as far as I could understand, they always were. So, yep, makes it happy. Councillor Downing.
Not really much to say, only that there's lots of events coming up and you get to make decisions on them, which is great. And also too, my only question was about the name change, so thank you for explaining.
The government, they've been here to help us, so they've done well. Okay, I'll put the motion. Anyone else want to have a comment on that? Councillor Wright?
It worries me if they brought in this consensus view. Most people, I find it, I've been on state body, water body committees, and we had to agree by consensus before we could move forward. Maybe it's just me that if I don't agree with something, they've got to wait for me to agree with them to be able to go forward, where I think if I'm in the minority, I can still hold my view, but it goes forward because the majority's voted on it. This consensus thing is that everyone's got to be touchy-feely, and a lot of people aren't open to quite frank and open advice or thoughts on some things. Admittedly, it mightn't happen on the local traffic committee, but you've got people coming from departments there whose job is to operate under regulation from the state government. It's their 9 to 5 job to go to meetings, and it's their 9 to 5 job to impose their recommendations. And the people like the local people, like councillors, are giving up their time to go there, and they're getting advice from our experiences. They can be pushed out because 3/4 of the committee could be people that's going to those meetings because it's their job, and I've no doubt that it'll still work and carry on. But I think the point I'm making, if someone doesn't agree with something, they should be let to have that thought, and the people move on with it because the majority rules. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? As my right of reply, I accept what Councillor Wright says, but my experience in this particular case is if someone's got an opinion, you still listen to it, you still take it on board. Quite often with the traffic committee, there's a lot of rules and regulations that come from Transport for New South Wales you don't get a lot of say in, but I can't think of anyone there that doesn't. The police certainly have their say on what they think needs to happen. We have the ministers, the local members representative, they certainly have their say. It works okay, but I take your point that whilst it has to be consensus, it doesn't mean you can't oppose it. You can still have your say that you don't like it, don't agree with it, but consensus doesn't mean that everybody agrees on it. Just the general consensus of the committee is that, of the forum is that. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Pass, thank you. Section 355, committee minutes of the Sale Yards Committee.
I'm going to move it.
Councillor Wright. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Wright.
Thank you. Yeah, the committee met at the beginning of the month. Our numbers are still a concern, stock numbers that is. It's a lot to do with the season. We are hoping that numbers will improve with the high sale yard prices. People that might be selling direct might say, well, there's a chance that we might get a bit more by selling in the auction system, and the operation seems to be going very well over there. One thing we do note is that the truck wash brings in a lot of revenue, and both from industry standards and from what we heard at the annual conference of sale yards in Wagga was the biggest impediment to livestock transport is facilities of truck wash and effluent disposal. And all trucks are fitted with a effluent tank that collects the liquid stuff, the effluent, and then it's deposited at a truck wash or a special dump so it doesn't go onto the road. Plus it also drains off the trays or the decks so the animals aren't laying or standing in effluent. And we have two there at the moment, and they're very well received as they've got high pressure. And if you've got high pressure, you use less water to get the job done, so the trucks get it out there quicker. We have an abattoirs beside us where those trucks leaving there's no facility there to wash trucks, and so they can use this facility at our sale yards, and it's a separate operated to our sale yards. You've got to have a key, have data key to access it, and have data collect all the money and then pay us what the agreed formula is. And so therefore we in point 2 there we're looking to expand it to offer another service. The bigger yards have 6 truck washers, and but we feel we can easily handle 3 here because there's not a very good facility at Cowra, and as I said, the abattoir's there and there's trucks coming by and they'll wash out. And if they know there's a good facility there, they're coming past, they'll use it. And trucks have to be clean when they go to pick up a new load of livestock from a farm or a sale yards to help with biosecurity. So we're not sort of preempting that it's going to come out to be a feasible decision, but we need to know what the costs are and how it's involved. If we have got a plan ready, there could be some money available because the state and federal people acknowledge that effluent from trucks is a major concern, and it just might help our operation continue on. There was one comment made to me by the opposition provider of software to the stock industry, Outcross they're called. We use a different company, Agrihouse, and he said to me quietly, he said, the Cowra's not a big yard, but they've done very well to remain open and to remain viable under the pressure the industry's under for these big organisations to take control. Regional infrastructure, we've got about 8 or 9 in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland, and they tend to get people involved, that people go there, they encourage the agents to bring stock there. The Dubbo, Forbes and Wagga are all on the Newell, and they get a lot of stock coming out of Queensland, South Australia and Victoria, but they often drive past one to get to the next one. And it's just the way the agents have a bigger field of operation now. They go interstate, and it's all done by word of mouth, and so it's a very competitive industry, and our staff and the agents are working hard here to maintain what we have, and I think we can maintain what we have if we can get a normal season, and I fully support our staff. They were attendants at the conference, and they took on what was being said there, and I think regardless of, I think everything what's in our minutes is that we're holding our own, and we are being careful to alleviate any problems coming up. Like Wagga, to dispose of their dead animals, you get a few dead sheep. We might get one or two a week, a broken leg or a broken neck or something. They're 8,000 on. We get about 300,000 a year sheep here. That's 6,000 a week. They get 2.8 million. They've got a 0.2% death rate, so that equates to 5,000 bodies. And they were running into trouble, like with us. If you go to the MRF, it's a very high cost there. They'd run out of ground to bury them, and now they've set up a FOGO type system in between their retention ponds, and they've got a road-based bottom. The sheep go in the dead sheep go in, and straw and other organic matter to start the mulching process, and they've got to control the leach. Is it the leachite out of the system? It can't go anywhere except in the system, and they're having very good results there. And we haven't got the numbers to sort of develop that, but it could. It sounds like a FOGO type thing when we introduce the food organic waste type thing. It's just something out of interest. And Wagga's very big. They got a $12 million income. The manager's been there 28 years or something, so he owns it, although the council pays the bills. And he says he gets a bit worried when council borrows money off the sale yards to do things while they're not using it, and which I thought was very novel. Out of the $12 million, they pay $250,000 a year we pay about 50 or 60 back to the council, dividend to the council, and they pay a Doty fee of 300,000. Well, I think ours is about 800,000 for 300,000 or 400,000. Is 80,000 for $300,000 or $400,000 turnover. So it must be the bigger you get, it's cheaper to run, and they contract out a large percentage of their operations, feeding and droving and so forth. They have contracts with the agents, what they've got to do. But they've come to the system now, and they don't know what they're going to do. Is the cattle yards are old, the sheep yards are old, and they're running at capacity, and they don't know if they'll have to find a greenfield site or try and replace what's there in a staged process. And the figures are going to be pretty astronomical, what they've got to do. So it's not all, just because they're big doesn't mean it's good. And I commend the staff and what we're doing here at Cowra. Thank you.
Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I echo Councillor Wright's sentiments regarding the wash bay. Everything that I've heard and seen indicates it to be necessary and successful. I did have one question, though, if I may, through the Mayor. It mentions that the welcoming a business case, which of course I fully support, but there's no budgetary implications. Is this proposed to be performed in-house? Thank you.
Through the chair, yeah, the team are working on the submission for the next committee meeting, for the January committee meeting, sorry.
Anyone else like to comment? Right, a reply, councillor Wright.
It's not actually a reply, it's an answer to the question. It's pretty hard to have a budgetary implication where you haven't got a budget to start with. So, it's, whether it's be done in-house or not, it's, we're working out what it's gonna cost, if it's feasible to put it alongside where it is, what the upgrade in the water and electricity will be there if needed. And, we bring all that together rather than making a decision to build one and then say, 6 months down, say, oh shit, we might have to get another 300,000 to do this. Oh, well, we'll send Paul and send the 2 Pauls down to NAB and get an overdraft. But I've yet to hear of any mayor that's ever signed a loan application or a loan acknowledgement. But I'm just being nasty now.
Thank you, councillor Wright. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. 7.3, the West Cowra Stormwater Progress Report. Councillor Horton. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So, to state the obvious, this is a significant report, a significant amount of work to get us to this stage. So, would certainly commend the director and his team for the effort that they've gone to thus far. Effectively, what we're being asked for is the opportunity to continue investigation, do some more research, test some theories and hypotheses, and before arriving at a final decision. And there's there's a range of different implications, not the least of which is we're trying to do this in a built-up area, some of which is light industrial, some of which is residential. And then, of course, you've got roads and other infrastructure in the way as well. So we're being asked to support some more research and investigation. At the moment, what it looks like is we'll end up with a combination of a retention basin and then a combination of some underground piping as well as use of the overground topography to help direct and move water from point A to point B. But a significant piece of work thus far, and happy to support continued investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Horton. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I don't know that there's much more to add to Councillor Horton's summary on this. It's an extensive study that's being done. I think we can be confident that the investigations are thorough and very well informed. It is a big job. There is no easy fix, and there are a lot of properties, and it's not just the properties. We also need to consider the value and to the lives that are impacted. So this is reporting about the engineering side of things, but we also need to remember that there are human lives being impacted by this, and sometimes quite traumatically as well. And I just want to acknowledge that we do understand that, we do feel that. This is simply alluding to how are we actually going to be tackling this project, and I commend the staff as well for their work. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? Councillor Wright.
This project has been in discussion for quite a number of years. I think even before 2008, when I was elected to council. The biggest problem is it's flat, and water only moves slowly in a flat area, and and then some of the streets aren't curb and guttering, so they've got no control of where the water goes, which comes down the road, the street or anything, and it's a big project. And I have opened my eyes, and didn't so much open my eyes about making the retention basin bigger between Lyle Street and Waratah Street to increase the capacity there, so you've got more time then for the water to make its way where you want it to go, to the Grenfell Road. And unfortunately today, we can't, under EPA regulations, we've got to be able to handle the water in a managed situation that doesn't do damage to anyone else. And this is what staff are working towards. And hopefully we have something that can happen. Because there's bits of development happening all the time that could increase the runoff into different places and so forth. And I wish them all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? I spent Saturday afternoon driving around West Cowra looking at the West Cowra gullies, and it's a bit hard to imagine, particularly around the bottom of Hassan Street there, just where the water goes and what it goes. So it's good that we have that data. Councillor Horton, right, a reply?
Just quickly, just to underscore that point, I think that's why the research is so important. So we do have some understanding about where the water goes. There's been any number of councils that have copped some fairly negative feedback where they've happily taken part in a land release and allowed people to build in areas that they shouldn't let them build. Thank you.
Thank you. Put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. 8.1, Section 355 Committee Draft Minutes of the Natural Resource Management Advisory Committee meeting held on the 19th of May 2025. Councillor Fagan, thank you. Councillor Wright. Councillor Fagan.
These are minutes from May, so we've moved on quite a lot since then. So we have good attendance, and it was quite an exciting. Today we had a meeting, and it was very. It was a workshop, and we came up with a few new projects to go into our plan, and we'll be presenting that to council in the next couple of months. But these are just preliminary draft meeting notes, really, about what we're thinking about doing. But we are actually coming up with a plan, which we'll present to council for public exhibition in the not too distant future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright.
Yeah, this happened a while ago, and as Councillor Fagan said, a bit's happened since then. I was an apology to the meeting today. I got selfish and thought I'd do something for myself. Our workshop was we had to walk around the Peace Precinct, Billy Goat Hill area from the playground down to the back of our new member's house, Ken Hutchison, who runs the Billy Goat Hill Friends Society, I think it's called, Land Care Group, highlighted a lot of weeds that shouldn't be there and so forth, and how they, and what he's been doing to try and control them. And I think there today, I've seen a couple of emails there late this afternoon from another member that there's a lot of things to do up there, and it could be used as an educational type thing, and we get some benefit out of that for the rest of the Shire, and maybe get funding that. But I wasn't there, and I'm not going to comment on that. That's what I was thinking while I was doing something for myself at the same time. That yeah, we use that as a demonstration site that'll improve the area, and as well as make it a more enjoyable place to go to. New committee members seem keen, and the old ones will probably get a kick up the backside and realise they have to be a little bit more proactive. And there's a lot of things going on. There's a circle economy workshop in Orange in early September, I think, a 3-day workshop with a lot of things on how to generate waste into good stuff and everything in your own society. I presume there'll be some people going to that. I'm unavailable, but yeah, there's things happening in this space all the time, and we just got to try and pick the good ones and don't get too tied up in the romance of it all, because that will send us broke. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Fagan. Put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. 8.2, the Draft Disability Inclusion Action Plan of 2025. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton. Thank you, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will take a minute to speak about this. This is quite an exciting plan, Disability Inclusion Action Plan of 2025. It has been a while coming through a lot of reviewing, reflecting and investigating, but we finally have it here, and I would like to sincerely commend Director Hackett and his staff for their dedication to this plan. Sometimes it's easy to overlook our progress, but as I've mentioned before about our 6 monthly reviews, it's also good that we can reflect back on what we've done and celebrate what we've actually achieved. And oftentimes people don't notice something has been done until they then find that something isn't there. And I think that's a lot of what accessibility is about too. And it makes sense to ensure that our environment's inclusive. And like anything, we need a plan to make sure it happens. I hope that this document becomes just as dog-eared as my 2017 DAP did, where I go back through it over and over again. I really love the easy-to-read action items. I think that will be good for us to be able to refer back to in our Access Committee meetings. And I'd also like to thank the individuals too who consented to having their photos in this plan. You know, I think they're quite champions, not just because they're in paper, but because they actually do make a genuine effort to break down the barriers to inclusion within our community and also change the perception of inclusion out in the public as well. I sincerely appreciate their efforts. I'd also like to thank the individuals that were involved in the public survey. Overwhelmingly, I think the result shows that we have a positive, inclusive environment for people living with a disability. It also shows that there's room for improvement, and I'd like to see us delve into that a bit more deeply as well. There was one submission received, and I'd like to thank Mr. Smellick for his thoughtful contribution. However, I do need to mention that there appears to be a bit of a misunderstanding of development level of authority and type of construction. The New South Wales government indeed does not impose silver level livable housing design standards on residential properties, and as we mentioned, Western Australia doesn't have it imposed either. And that's why our DCP can only recommend that the standard is there, not just that they can't insist upon a compliance, but this is for residential purposes only. But we are mandated to ensure compliance with disabled access provisions for all commercial and industrial developments, and that's by the National Construction Code. We actually, as council, have no authority to alter this. Our role is only to ensure that the Class 2 to 9 developments comply with the disability standards, and there is no room for deviance. So, as such, although the submission was appreciated, it's unable to affect our DAP as council has to comply with national and state legislation. Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
Thank you, and of course supportive of the comments from Councillor Kiss. And reading through this when it came in the papers, it's easy to look at something like this and dismiss some of the intent, if you like, as motherhood statements. Developing positive community attitudes and behaviours, create livable communities, create job opportunities for people with a disability. But that stuff, of course, is incredibly important. And my point is, with all of that, for those of us that don't live with a disability or don't have a close family member or friend that lives with a disability, this is also an awareness raising activity. I might not understand what the limitations are. So this kind of documentation helps me understand that. So I think that's a good thing for the community as well. Is there's an awareness raising piece to this kind of action plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment? Councillor Fagan.
I'd like to congratulate the Disability Action Plan Committee and say that this is an excellent document. I've really quite enjoyed reading it, to be honest, and it wasn't hard to read. I'd just also like to note that nearly 1,000 or 8% of 8% of Cowra's population reported needing help in their day-to-day lives due to a disability, and that's nearly 1,000 people. And I think that's really important to note. And also that 13.8% of people in Cowra who offered unpaid assistance to those people, and that's also important to note, that we actually are inclusive. We actually help these people, and this is actually a terrific document to demonstrate that we are actually thinking about how we can make it easier for people to live in our community with a disability. So thank you very much for this.
Thank you. Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Wright.
Yeah, thank you. This is a pretty important policy document. It explains what we're trying to do and who we're trying to help, and how the community can benefit from these people, as well as anyone with a disability can be helped throughout the community. Success often leads to a problem, and I might be drawing a long bow to this, but I think the federal government's NDIS scheme has highlighted some things as people have used their good nature of a policy for their own benefit, not just for the disabled people, but for the people wanting to run programs and so forth. And I feel sorry for anyone that's tied up with a scheme that mightn't be getting the full benefit of what they thought they should be getting. And this is not going to prove that, but it will prove that we can help people where we know where we can help people through a situation. And I think, like last week, it's been announced that they're going to take what 6 out of 10 of children under 12 that are in the NDIS program of on the spectrum and so forth, which is sort of gone a bit outside the disability type thing, where some of those things can be worked with, and they can be brought back into a more normal life. I'm not saying that's for everyone's case, but they're going to sit. But then the media picked it up and said, "Oh, there's going to be all these people dumped off that scheme," where in fact they'll be transferred at a very slow rate to a new scheme, which is separate to the NDIS. So the NDIS works for the people they want to be. And I think we're pretty lucky today with technology, and dare I say it, AI or something, that could be useful for people to get back into the workforce who's got a disability, and even people without a disability, if they feel that they've done something constructive for the day, their life is better. And I probably haven't spoken very closely to the policy, but we've got a policy here that identifies what we're trying to do, and I just hope that we can help. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to comment? Write a reply, Councillor Kiss.
Not needed, thank you.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Thanks. Passed. 8.3, Section 355 Committee Draft Minutes, the Access Committee meeting held on the 16th of June 2025. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Speechley. Thank you, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just finding my page here. Yes, thank you. This is for the draft minutes of the Access Committee meeting that we held in May. And I would also like to acknowledge Ms. Katie Oliver's resignation and ask that the Mayor send a letter of appreciation for her contributions. She has been a member of the Access Committee since 2022, coming on specifically as a staunch advocate for inclusive playgrounds. She has lived experience and freely promoted the benefits of inclusive playgrounds for children with additional needs, and you'll see her and her gorgeous son Clyde on page 24 of our DIA. They offered to pose for a photo, which was absolutely wonderful. You can't beat his smile, but this in itself highlighted the inadequacy of our playgrounds. You'll notice that he's in there in a wheelchair on the footpath, and then the moment you get through the gate, he drops onto bark, which fortunately we didn't make him do, but that in essence is what would happen. And sometimes it takes, a picture speaks 1,000 words, as they say. It takes for someone to actually look and say, oh, I get where you're coming from now. And look, I just applaud her, not only for being a fabulous mum, but for also taking it all in her stride and being an advocate for young people with a disability. So I congratulate her and thank her for her time, and thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kiss. Councillor Speechley.
Nothing to add.
Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Downing.
I just have a question about the MLAC facility grant was unsuccessful. Can you explain what that is?
Thank you. The MLAC facility was for the facility over at Olympic Park, where we'd put in an application for an adult change facility, and unfortunately we're unsuccessful, but we keep plugging away. Thank you. I wonder if we should explain what MLAC stands for. Yeah, I'm just thinking I don't even know what MLAC stands for, but yeah, thank you.
Okay, do we have anyone else like to
Yeah,
comment? Councillor Wright.
I'm happy to note there that the Gary Star cabin's going to be, there'll be a plaque placed in the caravan park, and I presume it's in the part of the cabin that's for got disabled access or people that haven't got the best access. It used to be access challenge, don't they, rather than disabled? Yeah. I think he was a person that did a lot without trying to do a lot in town for the access committee and so forth. And he showed great spirit and how he continued teaching and so forth while he had that disability till he could do it no longer. And not only for Gary, but I think for his family, it's a good recognition for his contribution in both the disabled people and the rest of the community. He served on council for quite a number of years. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment? Write a reply, Councillor Kiss.
Not needed, thank you.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. Number 9, late reports. The 9.1, the quarterly budget review statement for the period ending the end of June 2025. Late reports. It's was sent out on Friday afternoon. It'll be a separate agenda on your. Yep, that's the next one. This is a late report, so I'm sorry. Yes, you do. If that's a problem for anybody, we can do 10 before we do 9. There's no. Okay. 9.1 quarterly budget review statement for the period ending June 2025. Councillor Fagan. Councillor Wright. Councillor Fagan.
This is a really good report, as they usually are, which is very pleasing. It's good to show that we actually have a more surplus for the fourth quarter budget review. If you look carefully at where we've made or lost money, it's definitely in the waste. Is it waste? What one was? We've got a surplus at the end of the 2025, but we have had some deteriorations, mainly in the water situation, but we seem to have made it up in the last quarter. So it is important that we have this quarterly review. It's part of our governance system. It does show where we've changed things slightly in the last 6 months or 4 months. There isn't any major changes. The General Manager has pointed out the carryover items and the civic activities. I was going to, and one of the major items was the extra money, the $51,000 extra we spent for the election, which was not really an election, but we had to spend more money to have a non-election, so that was very underwhelming. We have there are some changes in the civic centre expenses, and I think that's a work in progress. As we all know, it's beginning to become a very popular event, but we do need to work out what the expenses are and what the income is going to be, and it hasn't settled down yet. It is interesting that we got paid by our financial assistance grants early, which has made us much more viable in that we get some extra income from interest payments. There are some other little things. that none of them are major. I think it's a good report, and it actually shows us that we have been running a tight ship, or the directors have been running a tight ship, and I thank them very much for doing that.
Councillor Wright.
Yeah, no, that's, it just shows us how things vary, and a budget is only there as a guide, and it's just because it doesn't meet it doesn't mean you've failed. There's something come up that you didn't expect, but you've still got to fix that problem. You don't hide it, and if you do save money, or extra money comes in, and you do show you've got a bit of extra money, well, that's good. That'll be there for the next rainy day. I just congratulate the staff for operating the way they did. I see the Civic Centre had a $42,000 reduction in the fourth quarter, that the staff are working on aligning future budget estimates with actual expenditures and the current operating format, and I think that would be understandable. They're still developing their business plan there, and it's an unknown quantity of how many people you get to go to a function and not going to get to the function, or which people you can get and can't get. We had the manager here speak last week about the festival coming up in the long weekend. Not Beat and Run or something.
Bell Beats.
Bell Beats. It is operating under a grant, but it appeared they're still going to need people to support it, and admittedly it won't all be happening at the Civic Centre, but be happening in the area around the Civic Centre, and could develop some cultural awareness and so forth, and they see what the Civic Centre's got to offer and will come there later. And that's about all I want to say. I'm just happy that they've all come in with a bit of a profit. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to comment? Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And this fourth quarter budget is quite a healthy one. There's been some necessary but it's substantiated movement between savings and unexpected expenditure. And I should have put these questions to the directors earlier via email, so I do apologise, and quite happy for them to be taken on notice. But it's more a confirmation for me. I noticed that with our human resources that we've got unspent amounts, quite significant ones, and I suppose, being that they're for WH&S, whether it be drug and alcohol testing or other employee assistance programs, it's more to confirm for myself that the unspent money has not been to the detriment of the staff safety, that it's just been that staff safety is continued as it should be. It's just that that's been overfunded. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to comment? Councillor Wright.
On page 6 of 76, under plant and depot operations, it's got plant operating expenses and plant operating expenses were less than the original estimate of 115,000 and 44,846 respectively, due to the reduced major plant repairs. So should there be a form of major plant and minor plant in there or something, or we run two sets of books? Well, the only reason I suggest that, because I run about 3, but I still can't get any of them to make a profit.
Well, I'll just take that on notice, councillor, and get back to you.
Okay, anybody?
Thank you.
I should have
picked up earlier. No,
Councillor
it's
Wright.
right.
The plant operating expenses is all of the plant operating expenses. Other, I think you'll find, is the vehicles associated with the workshop and the stores, the mechanics' vehicles themselves.
Yeah, they're both written up as the same thing, but we'll get that clarified. Anybody else wish to comment on the quarterly budget review? Councillor Fagan, write a reply.
Thank
I'll
you.
put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Passed. Thank you. Item 10, notice of rescission, CBD committee. I'm happy to move that. Councillor Speechley will second that. Thank you. This is a formal notice of rescission that council had appointed David Barand as the Tourism Committee representative, and we are changing that. We're rescinding that and making Courtney Prio, the current tourism manager, as the appointee to the CBD committee. Councillor Speechley.
I'd like to thank David for his contribution whilst he was on the committee and welcome Courtney and hope that she finds the experience of being on that committee beneficial.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? I don't need to write a reply. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any urgent matters for motions without notice? Okay, I'll now take a motion to close the meeting to the public to consider the following confidential reports. The Director of Infrastructure and Operations, 12.1, West Cowra stormwater easements. This matter is considered to be confidential under section 10A2C of the Local Government Act. The Council is satisfied that discussion of this matter in an open meeting would, on balance, be contrary to the public interest, as it deals with information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom Council is conducting or proposes to conduct business. And 12.2, request for tender 5/2025, sealing and resealing contract, local and state roads 2025-26. This matter is considered to be confidential under section 10A2C of the Local Government Acts, and Council is satisfied that discussion of this matter in an open meeting would on balance be contrary to the public interest, as it deals with commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it. Thank you. Councillor Fagan. Councillor Wright. Councillor Fagan. Councillor Wright. I'll Councillor Fagan write a reply. We're about to vote on it. All those in favour? Pass, thank you.